All right, welcome everyone, Kitsunekon 2024. We are here with Samantha Béart, who just gave me a really great way of saying that name, so I didn't butcher it completely. But I appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, we'll keep it really quick, but I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and give us a little bit of your time. I can imagine you're probably running around like crazy this weekend,
It's
so
pleasure.
it's much appreciated. How has the have you been to Wisconsin before? Or is this your first time?
It's first time in the Midwest.
Oh, first time Midwest.
Yeah,
Okay.
very exciting.
How's the Midwest been treating you so far?
Very nice.
Oh, very cool.
Very nice. I have my bag of cheese curds.
I was gonna say it's like you get off the plane and
That's
someone
part of
hands you
immigration.
Yeah,
you have to accept
yeah.
the cheese curds, and then you're allowed.
Yeah, then you can.
States.
Yeah, we're strict on it.
Yeah, you
but
should
like,
be. Cheese is amazing.
Cheese is amazing.
I'm from Europe.
Oh yeah,
we like our cheese. We're
yeah.
good. Yeah.
So you came to the perfect first place in the Midwest with a love of cheese to go
Okay,
to. So.
all right. I'll be like in Chicago. It's not like Wisconsin.
Like, yeah, I guess you have cheese, but it's whatever. For anyone watching, those of you who don't know, you obviously most recently have done work with Carolac and Baldurs Gate 3, which obviously we'll dive into, but you also have done work with the Sandman podcast series in various different video games like Demon Souls and stuff like that. So we'll dive into a little bit. Obviously, like Baldur's Gate 3, it had been probably going to get the amount of years wrong, but it had been quite a while since Baldur's Gate 2 had come out. You know, it's like we're talking about
decades.
Like generations of people who had not played Baldur's Gate, and then 3 comes out and just like breaks video game history in like every way. What was it like with that, like getting involved in that role and kind of like seeing like the outpouring of like support?
So the writing was excellent. That was never a question of that.
Right.
Well, I figured it would be a cult indie hit. That people might come up to me now and then and go, I played that Baldur's Gate 3. You were good. No one expected, and it's exponentially bigger than any of us expected. I think there was a bit of genius marketing at play in terms of when the release date got moved a bit earlier. So I think that was just really smart.
Yeah.
We had a good old month. We thought we'd have a month and then people would move on to the next
next game.
This month has been about a year.
It
hasn't ended.
And it's not really stopping.
No. It's slowed down a little bit, but Hype Train is kind of still juddering along quite nicely.
There's still
one can now get on and off safely. It's a lot easier now.
There's no immediate like, why haven't you played this game yet? Of people shaking you.
I still get people apologising for not playing it. You take your time. It's very long, and you're an adult with a life. So don't worry about it. Yeah.
Did for like games like that, when you're recording lines, are you trying to are you recording it like in different spurts, or are you like, is it kind of just like whatever you record at the time, or are they having you record it like in game order, or are you kind of just recording what they give you?
I wish, as I say, for an indie, more likely to get the full script in order with everyone else's lines, so you can do a real textual analysis if that's your bag. That's mine. Whereas a AAA, you're going to get a bit of an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. That's in order of, if I remember rightly, alphabetical order of scene names. So everything that happened in camp just said camp. Okay. And whatever. And then you've got directors there for context. We had Larry on Slack just to make sure things were right, because they were in a different city to us. Yeah. So they went down the hall. That we got. Is this a typo? Oh, you do want me to say that? Okay.
All right, sure. All right, why not?
Yeah, very much so. But hooray for technology when it works, because that was great.
When it works.
When it works. Otherwise, it's evil. But it was quite the experience, because I came in like Theo Solomon, who plays Will. We came in the last year of development, but that's when everyone was doing this. Is what I have to make very clear, because people have interesting opinions on this timeline. We were all starting Acts 2 and 3 at the same time. The difference is me and Theo were also doing Act 1. If you're super nerd about Carl, she doesn't really in Act 1 very much till near the end. But what was nice for me is, because remember, those other actors had years of COVID in between, so they were quite on and off. Right. Whereas I was doing sort of every other day and the weekends, which was pretty cool, because I had that momentum for a character that feels also running out of time as well. It was like, let's go. But I also didn't need so much explaining. I played D&D, so I understand the different planes of existence, as we seem to go to all of them in this game. A lot of them anyway. But also, if we did the Underdark 2 days ago, they're not going to need to explain it to me again in context. So that was actually quite an advantage, I felt.
Right.
No mocap training. Most of us didn't have mocap training. That's quite an unusual thing in the UK because there's not that much work for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So luckily we're playing bipeds and
It
not
helps,
running
yeah.
around. So standing still, being filmed from the
yeah.
knees up. So that was pretty cool. We just had movement directors and voice directors to work together, keep it honest, make sure it's consistent.
Right.
But very much out of order, part of the pipeline, remember. So it will go through. I mean, obviously, I don't know the full pipeline, but for what I'm aware of, you'll have cinematics, animation, and then I guess it goes to testing. There'll be an audio cleanup as well, and then testing, and then that comes back. And luckily, in my case, it wasn't changed very much, but they would add bits now and then for a scene. But most of it's in the top 90s, I'd say, like it's all in there.
Right. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Go me.
Yeah.
Yay.
I did.
But it was hundreds of hours of work.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, the amount of lines alone, like
if you bring it down, it comes to double figures for all of us, but like it's triple figures for the mocap because that's just how long it took. To do that. It was because each there's so much branching narrative, and you've got to end at a neutral point by the end of it.
Right.
So you were absolutely being meticulously watched and make sure it all comes back. Because the worst thing is to go and redo it. I don't think anyone had to. Everyone was right. But it is line by line. You start in a neutral pose, you do the line, you come back, and then you go, right, well, that would follow on from that. So you need to then pick that up from there. Or this was a new thought. And then by the end, again, it has to come back. So it took a while. That's why it took so long.
I mean, clearly though it's paid off. Like hard work pays off.
But never phone it in. That's the lesson here. And no one who worked on this did that. It was so well thought of and loved, and it didn't really matter if a tenth of the people that played it. We were going to make a really good game.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Cool. Yeah. And just for my own curiosity, I'm sure people wondering because you mentioned like you played D&D yourself, so it was easier to kind of like understand stuff. Is there a certain class you like to play the most?
Funny enough, my very first character was a barbarian.
Oh, well, that's so...
Because I like story, not interested in magic or fighting mechanics.
Right,
I was like, look, did I hit it? How hard did I hit it? Excellent. I'll see you in 20 minutes when it's my turn again. So that's how I went in. I played a Dragonborn barbarian and in real life meet-up in London, which it was like... Cool. The idea is you go to the tavern every week, and if there's a mission on, you can join it. So it was new DMs were starting out, new people were playing every week, and there was no sort of need to get into the whole lore of the whole thing. The idea was a very mercenary idea, very clever. And then the other one was done online during COVID, and I played a regretful tiefling warlock. So it all comes round in the end, doesn't it? It was like my Eldritch Blast crying between Eldritch Blasts. So.
I don't want to do this, but I have to.
yeah. I've made a huge mistake.
Why do you make me do these things?
That's the one. Yeah, Cthulhu being my patron and some pretty wild dreams.
Well, I mean, praise Cthulhu, but I mean...
I had to hand out leaflets. It was the most...
Really?
After a battle, I was told. I had to go up to the other party members.
I'm so sorry.
Please join the Church of Cthulhu.
Like, I kind of have to. I'm so sorry.
I think I dumped a whole load of them around the back of a tavern. He didn't know. Just put some underneath the doors, but then also just dump them in the bin.
Yeah. Now obviously you've done obviously Baldurs Gate 3's been more recent stuff, but you've also done the Sandman podcast series. How was it working on that project as well?
Yeah, so it gets called podcast a lot. I mean, it's IMDb's fault, I think, but it's an audio drama. You guys invented radio drama, right? Do you remember H.G. Wells and that?
Yeah.
It's that. It's just acted out. It's very cool. That was all very sort of freeform, and I've worked with Dirk Maggs. He's sort of seen as the Spielberg of audio drama. They've called him that. I didn't call him that. Sorry, Dirk, but it's true. Just the breadth of his work from comic book adaptations, and then we did an adaptation. So he did Superman years ago, and then there was an adaptation of the Alien books as well, so I did one of those as an audio drama, full cast drama, and I did The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with him in 2005. Just got in under the door as they did that 5th book adaptation. That was me, so that was cool. It's been a ride. I've played roles that I've never, no actor would get to play, just because it's pure voice. So it's been very liberating. But just back to Sandman. A lot of the time we did it in one take, and we'd go, really, and he'd go, done. We're all in the same room at the same time. Just make sure you don't cross over each other's lines. But that was it. That was the rule. And some of that stuff was just done in a 24-hour diner, which is probably for the best that we didn't go over and over it.
Right.
If you know, that one's pretty gnarly. It's just pure horror. It was a very faithful adaptation of the comic books, whereas the TV series is gone. It's a TV series.
Oh, yeah.
And it works.
Huge.
Totally, but
yeah.
it's a little different in its adaptation sometimes. But yeah, we went for the very loyal approach. So yeah, it got gnarly, but it was great that you could do it in 1 or 2 takes and be done. Because I was also Calliope as well, and that's again pretty grim story.
Right, yeah. It's a little bit different, little different. But obviously, I want to make sure we wrap up. But other than like Baldurs Gate 3, what's it like? Has there been like a consistent other, I guess, thing people have been wanting you to like sign or like shows that are being referenced? Like kind of like where's the go-to crowd going outside of Baldurs Gate
for
for
my
you?
work?
Yeah.
I'm about to do some more video games. Yay! This was not the case 2 weeks ago. So wait, it's a bus theory. So 3 come along at once. So maybe in a year or 2. I mean, they're mainly indies. So hopefully in the next year or so, 2 years, 3 years, tops, there'll be some stuff coming out. Otherwise, Excavation of Hobbs Barrow is kind of what got me the role in Baldurs Gate.
Right.
Victorian folk horror, shades of the Wicker Man and Lovecraft and that sort of thing. Very different with a sort of John Carpenter soundtrack over the top. Why not? Pixel art. Like, totally recommend that. Very different. Got me Karlak. Got noticed from that. I've done. I've been told. I think I've done 41 titles at Big Finish. So that's lots of Doctor Who. Torchwood, I played original character. Survived 3 series. That's kind of some sort of record for Torchwood.
Considering those that's pretty impressive when you can last more than a season.
They're a shape-shifting character.
Right.
So that's how they get away with it.
Because I was like, I'm still around. Like.
There's loads of those. An original series, Vienna, with Chase Masterson from Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Some people will know. Will have definitely heard of her. Which is very cool. So it's taken this career so far has taken me all across the realms and
it's been incredible. I mean, it's awesome though to see though. I mean, like just because it's like you get to hear really cool stuff and like you said, you get to like see and travel and talk to people and be able to like do new projects and new work or anything. Obviously, I know if there's anything coming out, we can't really talk about it or things like that. So are there like key socials or things that people should be going to so when work is getting released, they can just immediately find out?
I'm on the horrible one called Twitter or X. It's just my name, one word, Samantha Béart, you'll find it there. I do occasionally, at the moment I'm hiatus because I'm doing the pension tour 2024, Catch Me in America, signing things, meeting you all is great. But I've had to put it on hiatus just to look after my mental health because I can't do it. There's a show called It Takes a Village and we interview people from the games industry. It's a very invisible industry where, at the moment you get, apparently it's just one guy making it, the auteur makes it all and there aren't these hundreds of people. So it's an effort to pay back a lot of people who've recommended me because it's a very friendly industry. And it crosses over so much. So a composer might recommend you might recommend a tester for something. Because we meet socially and we kind of try and look out for each other.
Exactly.
So that's where the title comes from. I was getting a lot of credit for being the only person that had anything to do with Karlak and I didn't like it. There was a lot of pedestal putting but the writers and they're like, no. And they're like, yes, very much so, the writers. So I try and interview different people from that. So cool. I always advertise that on Twitter, but it's on Twitch and then there's an archive on YouTube. So again, under the same name, if you look me up on YouTube, there's a whole archive there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then just like lastly, any final message, fans, people coming to the conventions to see you, things like that you want to pass along to people?
Thanks for coming to see me. People say like thanks for coming out, but like you've come out too and you spend money and you come to the hotel and you book things, you take time off work, and please know that is so very appreciated. It really warms my heart. And there's only a little black pulsating thing there, so that it does mean a lot. So thank you.
All right, and with that, we'll wrap up, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.